Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ryal Thomas. This evening, the title of the show is titled, Having a Talk with You. I'm going to kind of free fall with this talk with you guys out there in TV land. So if you have any questions or any concerns or any statements that you feel that you want to make, please feel free to do so. But before we get started, I want to thank you all for all the letters, all the support, that you guys are giving me. You can write me at P.O. Box 4761, Charlottesville, Virginia 22905. The letters have been coming in, and a lot of statements, comments have been made, that's really motivating and stimulating me to continue on with some of the messages that I'm presently giving. And at this time, I also would like to say this. If you guys out there have any questions, any concerns that you want to discuss, if you feel like you want to have a 101, you want to come on down and sit down and talk to me about some concerns that you may have, maybe with your neighborhood, maybe with the city, just about anything. I don't care if you want to come in here and talk about bears. We can talk about anything as long as it's informative, as long as we feel that we are delivering a positive message to individuals out there that need to have a positive message. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, but just remember that. You can also give me a call, 760-8682, and just share a little bit about maybe what you want to talk about or maybe what you think about the show. So the lines are open tonight. The lines are open for you guys out there that want to call in and just maybe, it doesn't have to even be about what I'm talking about tonight, because tonight I'm just free falling with some stuff and I really don't have a main topic that I'm going to stay on. So this is an opportunity for us to get to know each other, for us just to kind of like converse with one another, if that be the case. All right, having a talk with you. I want to get started this evening by talking about some of the things that may be facing you as an individual. It may be something that you may be going through right now. You may be going through some things with your job. You may be going through some things with your coworkers, but let me try to explain some things at this particular moment, or in this particular moment, I should say. Sometimes because things may not appear to be going your way, or you may be looking at finding some sort of fault because this is not happening the way that you feel that it needs to happen, it doesn't necessarily mean that things are going wrong. Because sometimes the more complications that you go through, it prepares you for other complications that come up in your life. So just knowing that you can deal with them and just knowing what the end result is going to be with the thoughts that you have with you, that should comfort you. Never let someone guide you in a direction that you feel that you do not want to go in based on how they feel. You have to remember, if you have plans to do something, you have to stay focused. You have to stay focused on what you are trying to do. That's what needs to be done. You need to stay focused on what you are trying to do, because only you know how far you want to go. Only you know the road that you want to take. And you may discuss that with someone. And it's nothing wrong with sharing certain things, but when you get to a point where there's conflict and you may feel that this is not going right, still stick to your plans. Still stick to them, Because you cannot let the conversation of one or two or three people dictate to what you do next in order to get where you need to be. Because sometimes that happens. Sometimes you can share ideas and you can share thoughts. You can share conversations. And not saying that individuals with no experience cannot help you, because they can. They can come up with things and say things to generate thought. And sometimes a concern or question that they may have, it may challenge you, because this is preparing you for what's to come. See, it's not easy. It's not easy fulfilling your dreams. First and foremost, you must have determination. You must have determination to get there. You must realize that this jump is not as easy as you think it is. You must have enough strength, enough get up and go power to get up and go. Because without that, you can easily be taken off track. You can easily be taken off track. I have a individual that I'm presently working with, and she's constantly challenging me. And when she's on, and I have to give her that. She's always challenging me, making me think, coming up with new ideas. And I really admire that about this individual, and sometimes I think this individual is not making a whole lot of sense. But then when I sit back and I think about it, she's making a whole lot of sense. So just because an individual doesn't have experience in what you may be trying to do or where you may be trying to go, doesn't mean that these individuals are not good for you, because sometimes they come to you from different angles. Sometimes people with no experience can come to you with just a lot of common sense that you need to look at. See, sometimes you just can't look at things straight down the road and be business about it. Sometimes you need that questionable statement, that questionable conversation, what gets you to think, because it's going to come down the road anyway. So you might as well understand that these things are preparing you. They're preparing you for where you are going. And always remember this too as well. Like I say, I'm having a talk with you today. Always remember this. Just because someone is standing beside you doesn't necessarily mean they're with you. You have to understand that. That's a sad thing when you may be considering someone as a helpful friend. That's a sad thing. You want to make sure that the person who's trying to help you and motivate you and stimulate you is really in your corner. Especially when you're depending on them to make smart and wise decisions for you, because you can get there with your determination, but everybody needs somebody. When somebody say, I don't need you, see, that person, in my opinion, is not going to make it. They can make it, but when they have the attitude of saying, I don't need you, everybody need somebody. Whether the statement is good or bad, whether the conversation is good or bad. Somebody always needs to pull your shirt. Someone needs to nudge you every now and then to keep you on the right track, to bring you back into reality, because you can get so far out there with your thoughts. You think your thoughts just might be making sense only to you. And without someone kind of reeling you back in, telling you the reality or showing you the reality of what you're talking about or what you may be doing, man, you can get lost out there with your thoughts. You can get lost out there with your dreams. And just because the sun comes out one day and it rains the next, you can't get upset with that, because it may be bad for you on a rainy day, it may be great for the gardener. Just because it's too hot for you this particular day, it may be great for the people who are going to the beach, for the individuals who are trying to get a suntan. So don't always look at the negative side of things when things are not going your way. Because if it's not going your way, be happy for someone else because it's going their way. And you have to understand, you can't be selfish with your thoughts. You can't be selfish with climbing the ladder. And if you happen to make it, man, you got to give back. You have to look back. You have to stay grounded. You know, I don't particularly need a lot of friends. I'm kind of content with the people I do have in my circle. Because the bigger your circle get, hey, sometimes the more opportunities are in that circle. But sometimes the more problems are in that circle. So that's why you have to choose certain individuals to come into your life. People that's going to be supportive. People who understand what you're trying to do. People who understand where you're trying to go. And without that understanding, conflict can come about. So you make sure when things are coming up and you need someone to talk to, just don't pick up the phone or talk to anyone. Talk to someone who's going to give you constructive criticism. That's very important. And you can't get mad and upset with people who challenge you, because these challenges are coming, you know. I think we have a question from a viewer out there. I'm getting a signal. I'd like to know what that question is.
Yes, Ryal, we have a viewer who is actually a single father, and their question is, what advice would you give? They're having trouble each month making ends meet in their particular situation, monetarily speaking, just to keep food on the table, keep the roof over their heads. What advice do you have to those single fathers out there or single mothers who are struggling?
Oh man, that's a good question. I mean, because that's a very good question, because if there are kids involved and things of such, you can't always get a second job, because you have the responsibility of being there for the children. And my advice would be to get in contact with some family members. I mean, some solid family members who don't mind, maybe watching the kids or a few hours in the evening, just talk to some solid family members, even some solid friends, to explain to them your situation. And furthermore, they're going to respect you for being responsible enough to even raise the children by yourself. And they're going to do all they can to help you. So if you have a solid grandmother or solid mother or uncle or anyone that that's solid, who can give up 4 or 5 hours where maybe you can take on an additional job where you can bring in some extra income. And there are also a lot of programs, here in Charlottesville that will offer a lot of help to single parents. So I would say, first and foremost, look into some family members, some strong family members and friends, because no one's going to treat your children like you treat your children. And no one's going to treat your children like solid family members are going to treat your child. So understand that. Understand that first and foremost. Go through family love first and explain to them your situation. Let them know that you're having a hard time, and they will understand. They'll say, please bring the child over here, and I'll keep the child this evening for a few hours, you know? So that would be my advice for those individuals who are having some sort of financial difficulties and, you know, because they are single parents and, you know, raising a child alone. Good question. Keep the questions coming. So again, I'm going to move right back back into it. If you're involved in relationships, if you're in a committed relationship, always understand that not every day is going to be a good day. Every day is not going to be a good day. Coming home, you may have difficult times throughout the day. You may not even want to be bothered for the first moment or the first, let your loved one, your husband, your boyfriend, your wife, your girlfriend, let them come home and relax for a moment. Don't just bombard them, with a lot of questions, with a lot of concerns. And definitely, I'm pretty sure you know your partner by now. When there's a certain look on his or her face, it would be best, I should say, it would be best not to just run up, start questioning them or talking about your problems throughout the day, because you can see that they have had problems. Give them time to relax, something to drink, maybe a sandwich or so. And if they want to go in the room alone for a moment, hey, respect that. And sooner or later, love will take over. You know when it's right to move in. You know when it's right to say something. So sometimes we can jump into things, because we want to talk about what's going on with us. We already know that. Everybody wants to be heard. Everybody wants for someone else to listen to them and to be able to share their ups and downs and their negatives, positives, or whatever you want to call them. Everybody wants to be able to share that, to vent something out. And it's important to do that. But there's a time and a place and a condition for that to happen at a time when you know that it can be talked about in a very respectful manner. Like I said, the day's title is Having to Talk with You. Okay, I'm being looked at again, so that means we have another question.
We have a viewer, Ryal, who was going for a promotion at work, and one of their longtime friends and colleagues at work actually at the last second got that job that they were going for, swooped in and took that same position. What advice do you have for this individual in terms of trying to salvage the friendship, and what should they be doing at work now that that job has been given to one of their colleagues?
Man, I don't know who these individuals are, man. But these individuals, man, are coming up with some good questions. Well, I will tell you this. Do not show any difference. Do not show that you're upset with them because, decisions have been made maybe over your head. You may feel that you rightfully deserve the position, but the individual who has the job, they may feel the same way. And another thing is you have to understand is that people, and especially supervisors, managers, or CEOs, or whoever may be, making major decisions in the corporation, you must understand that they are looking at your response. They are looking at your response. So if you act in a negative manner and they see that, all you're doing is confirming for them that they made the right decision by not picking you, by not choosing you, because, character means everything. And just because your numbers are higher than the next person, just because you may have more numbers in place to justify why you should have that job. See, it's not always about the numbers. Sometimes it's about your ability to interact with customers. Sometimes it's about your public relationship skills. You may have the numbers there, and you may be producing what's needed to be produced where you feel that you deserve the promotion. But it may be Mary Sue over here or Billy Bob over there. People are coming in asking for him. People are coming in asking for her. And you have supervisor or manager sitting over there looking at this because that individual is actually bringing in customers with a friendly conversation, with a friendly smile. Just being human, just being nice, just being polite. They may not have the paperwork skills. They may not have all the numbers in the right place, but they have the customers coming in, and they're asking for this individual by name while you're sitting over there. Hey, don't be upset because your time is coming. So do not let the blessing of one take you away from the blessing that you may receive next month or in 6 months. So that would be my answer to that. Good question, whoever you are. Now, we only have about 5 more minutes, and I'm being flagged down with one more question, and I'm waiting on that one as well.
Yes, Ryal, we have a viewer here who has been watching all of your shows this season. They're big fans. They thoroughly enjoyed your Proper Backup show in particular, and they mention that because they say that they're worried that their partner has been unfaithful, and they're worried. What advice would you have? Should they confront their partner? Should they lay low for a while? What do you think is the best approach?
Whoa, oh man, that's serious, especially when there's love involved. That's a hard one. If first and foremost, I guess you have to know that for a fact. Because sometimes people can blow things out of proportion. And you have a lot of people that are jealous. So just because someone is going out to lunch with someone doesn't necessarily mean that they are being unfaithful. They just could have a good relationship, with their coworker. And, girls, they can have, friends, that are guys, and guys can have, friends that are females, So, first and foremost, you must really, really know what you're talking about, because when you start making accusations like that, you're gonna be destroying some trust, and trust is necessary in a relationship. I think if I were, in that particular situation, I would ask, and I would, I wouldn't ask with anger or disbelief. I wouldn't want to put that on anyone, but I would say, these are my concerns, and just talk to me and explain to me, what's going on, because you have to go about this in a very respectful manner, because you have to understand you're talking to someone that you love. You're talking to someone that you're with. You're talking to someone that, you're living with. You're sharing your life with this individual. And I would say just confront them, and if this happens to be an area that you're uncomfortable with, don't keep yourself uncomfortable, talk to the individual, and if you've been together for a long period of time, they will respect that. But also keep in mind, if that is happening and they do come out and tell you, yes, this is true, then you have to make some judgment calls, And what I will say is this: do not leave, if that happens to be the end result, in a way where you lose respect for this individual. Do not leave in that manner. Do not leave, in a manner of being angry or saying words that you normally wouldn't say to one another, because just like she or he fell in love with you, they can fall out of love with you based on the end result. And sometimes talking about something can allow a person to understand how much you really do care about them. So when you're moving in to thinking about cheating, or if you are cheating, grass is not always greener on the other side. The individual just could be fulfilling an empty void. Maybe he or she is giving you something that your partner or your wife is not giving you. And if that be the case, then you need to talk to your wife or your husband about these areas that you're uncomfortable with. You know, you just can't throw everything away. Just, give it a try. Try to understand, what's going on, because your feelings can play with you. You may start finding fault with your partner. And I think I said it last time. Sometime if you start to look at new people to be involved with, sometimes you may have a new person right there beside you. If you start doing new things with them, you can't be boring in a relationship. And always remember, you can't give someone to compare someone to, because that happens often. People get in a spot, where they start comparing one another, like, she doesn't do this or he doesn't do this, and if I was with him, he would have never said that, or she would have never done that. Be careful with that, because it just may be temporary feelings, and these temporary feelings does not bring a long-term relationship. So understand that. Tonight, it has been having a talk with you. I'm sorry I wasn't able to answer all the questions. I see that there's a lot more questions that people are asking, but we only have 25 minutes on this show. So if there's something that you want to address next time, please give me a call, 760-8682, or write me, P.O. Box 4761, Charlottesville, Virginia, 22905. Thank you. See you next week.